everyone. Ian Garlic here, host of the Garlic Marketing Podcast and CEO of Authentic Web, a video marketing agency where we help businesses tell their stories through video. And today I want to talk about a really important topic that we get away from. A lot of people don't completely comprehend or think about, and that's the customer journey. It's absolutely crucial to be thinking about the customer journey. One of the things we do at Authentic Web is we actually storyboard out the customer journey. I've done a few courses on that and done a few books. But if you really want to reduce your marketing spend, figure out what content you need to write, increase traffic, get better leads, get leads that are pre-qualified and know who you are, and become what I call like a micro celebrity, a celebrity in that moment when they need you. Creating video content around the customer journey will do that. We've seen that across the board with our clients over the past 9 years, where the ones that create a ton of video content that talks about every part of the customer journey, man, people walk in their doors and they're celebrities. And even if you don't have people walk in the door, people will know, like, and trust you if you're all the way there along that customer journey. Plus, when you sit down, it's so hard, isn't it, to think about, like, what am I going to write about? What video topic am I going to make? And a lot of people say, well, I just don't want to be on video, or I don't know, or we have to be an authority. But if you are inserting yourself into this customer journey, I guarantee you it'll be easy for you to make video if you're doing it the right way, if you're inserting yourself properly along the customer journey. So I'm going to review the customer journey, review ways that you can insert yourself, go over the mistakes that people made. And if you are listening to the Garlic Marketing Podcast, which some of you are, you can go to authenticweb.media/journey, and you'll be able to find this video plus the downloads for this piece. So I want to talk to you today about the customer journey. You see here, it's a bigger journey. And one of the biggest mistakes people make is that they don't pay attention to it. They hone in on two things. They either hone on the point of sale, like we just want to get a ton of leads because we're going to close them. Or they just completely discount this and they just think about their business processes. And while it's important to have systems, I'm a big systems guy. It's important to understand your business processes. Your customer, your clients don't care at all about your business processes. They care about their journey. And if you speak to their journey, if you speak to the way that they are moving through their life and understand where they are, man, you're going to do really, really well, because but you have to do it the right way, but it's going to transform your business, especially if you're putting video in here. And we're going to talk a little bit about why video in a few minutes, but let's go through the customer journey first. So I'm going to zoom in here and move a little left to right. And you'll find here, once again, if you are looking at this video, you'll be able to download this at authenticweb.media/journey. If you're listening to the Garlic Marketing Podcast or you see this someplace else, you can click on the show notes. There'll be a link, but that's authenticweb.media/journey. So let's talk about your customer. Let's just go through the stages. The first stage is they don't know that they have a problem. And whether you're selling a software, if you're an attorney, if you're in tax resolution like some of our clients, if you're doing stem cells, there's a point where people just don't know that they have a problem. And they might have a problem, or the problem might not have arisen yet. Right. So it hasn't, if you're a personal injury attorney, this customer journey gets really short in the beginning because they don't know that they have a problem. But, if you think about this, you can actually insert yourself early on before they even have a problem. If your problem arises, if it's not an existing problem, if it's something like a car accident or flooding, or, if you have a very specific software that deals with a specific problem that isn't always there, this is, you can still insert yourself in there. And we'll talk about some ways to do that later on. But that for someone moves then from they don't know they have a problem to they know they might have a problem. This is where you're like, things aren't really good. Now, some of this might be, if you have a software that's a project management software, they are thinking, well, my projects aren't quite working the way I want them to. I want to get more control. I want to have more visibility. Maybe you have a CRM. Maybe your software, maybe you're in Salesforce and, like people aren't using Salesforce the right way. That's, people start to have an inkling of the problem. And then they start to look for solutions on their own. We're living the day of Google. We don't just go straight to the Yellow Pages and look for help. And a lot of that, what I call the Yellow Pages philosophy, the Yellow Pages mindset, is going away. There's a lot of people out there now that had never touched Yellow Pages except for maybe to stand on it or use it as a booster seat. But if you remember the Yellow Pages, there's this idea, I have a problem, I can translate into who's going to help me and leave through. But that doesn't happen anymore. We go to Google. We go to Google for everything to look for solutions. And then, I talk about video all the time. The other place that we go to look for solutions is YouTube. Especially if you're in some service industry. I mean, I do it all the time. I look for ways to fix my boat, fix the air conditioning in my house, clean up the yard. Even if you're in legal, people are looking to see their legal answers on YouTube, right? They're trying to figure out if they can do the trademark themselves. A lot of people, if it's early on, they might not know that your software exists. They might not know that your service exists. So they're looking for solutions on their own. We worked with one company that's a restaurant systems checklist software, great software, but a lot of people might not know that solution is out there. So they're looking for ways to make sure that their temperatures are right. Ops Analytica client, they're great software, but most people won't know that solution's out there. So being there when they're looking for those solutions is another way. Once they move from looking for solutions on their own, look for outside help for the solution. So we make this leap here, right? We go, I can do this myself, to I just need help, right? And that's an important leap. But if this is another place that we can insert ourselves. But, that's a thing to remember. People try and do it themselves, or maybe they don't think they need to do it, right? Maybe they can ignore it, but then they look for outside help for a solution. This is where we start. A lot of people spend their time. This is where someone's Googling your type of business, that they've discovered. But there's a lot of opportunity here because there's a lot of time in the beginning that we're making that mistake. So once someone looks for the outside help for the solution, they're Googling it. They're asking other people. They're looking on YouTube. They're actually looking for that specific solution. Now, they might not know that solution. They might not know the name of it. Think about the Yellow Pages. If you remember the Yellow Pages, they would go back and, you'd be like, oh, I need a window fix. Well, what does that mean? I actually saw a company that was called a fenestration company. I'm like, I don't know what that means. I looked it up. It means fixing doors and windows. You might have known that. I didn't. But there's a lot of names for the solutions out there. Perfect example was, I was trying to mount my pontoon boat, mount the transponder from my fish finder on the pontoon boat. I'm looking up 20, 30 different terms to find the solution. And I don't even know if there's someone that does that. I mean, I'm sure boat repair places do, but I'm like looking for that specific solution. And the more specific you can think about those terms, the better off you are. But what are someone thinking about when they're looking for help with that solution? Finally, they do find you, right? Now they find you and then they compare solutions. This is another thing that we think, and this is a big mistake people made. They think it goes from traffic to website to conversion. And we think this happens, boom, fast. And even if, unless it's a life or death situation, and even sometimes we shop around, right? We shop around. My son was sick. We're trying to figure out what hospital to take him to. We spend a few minutes. I mean, this might take time. If you are a CRM company, if you have a big enterprise software, these 3 steps might be 6 months, 12 months, 18 months even, right? This will change, but we spend a lot of time in here. We spend a lot of time in here in the compare solutions, find you, compare solutions, right? We want someone to get to our website. We want them to rethink, they read our website, and then they call us. So, smarter companies are now having downloads, and you have opt-ins and newsletters, et cetera. But this is a big part to understand, is that this isn't the only part. We come back here, and it's just a few steps. While they're critical steps in the buying process, they are important. Additionally, just because someone found you, and even if you're awesome, if they don't remember you, well, then what does this matter, right? Because they might have said, they compare solutions, they decide on solutions, they go, oh yeah, I like that company. It was what? I do this all the time. In fact, there's a piece of software I'm using right now that's a research software that took me a good month to remember the name of it. And I bought it and purchased it, and I had to go back in my email and remember the name of it. Even though I'd spent money, bought the software, decided on the solution, I couldn't remember the name of it. So if someone hasn't decided you need to be thinking, how can I get them to remember you? And video is one way, especially if you're all the way here along the way, helping that person. So what's next? Well, someone decides on the solution, of course, right? And that's where a lot of you stop marketing. We might onboard the person, but we stop marketing. But once we decide on a solution, we move forward with the solution. That's two different steps. We might say, hey, I'm going to do this. And they say, yes. How many of you have been in sales that someone says, yes, I'm going to move forward with helping? You're great. I love you. And then boom, they disappear. It's two different steps. And we have to remember that. We decide on solution, move forward with solution. That's why so many salespeople are like, let's just get them signed, get them signed, get them signed. It's because it's really, we forget about marketing in this space. So after someone moves forward with the solution, they have buyer's remorse, indifference, and confusion. The more complex your service, right? And the less selling you've done up front, the less someone knows, likes, and trusts your business, the more buyer's remorse they're going to have. Or the less they see the value in what you do, the more indifference they're going to have. Or if they don't understand the next steps, they're going to be confused. And this is an opportunity for you as well to market and become more of an authority, more of a resource. Because what's that going to do? It's going to make your internal operations work better. Plus, when we move down on, it's going to change the end result. Is that client going to be super happy? Are they going to be a net promoter for you? Are they going to be the person that talks about your business? Are they going to be one that does a video case story for you? Or are they going to be one that kind of doesn't like you, or even worse, just hates you because they're confused? I mean, I'll admit it. I'll think, well, we do some confusing stuff for people. We move fast and we're on the cutting edge, and we forget. But our number one core value is we seek to understand, not to be understood. Because people get confused. If you have a complex software, people are getting confused, and they're going to forget why they even bought from you. So you moved on to perceived real problems, which I noticed right now that I misspelled. I'm doing this as a video blog post. So perceived real problems. This is where real problems come up. They're real problems that, we have that, someone doesn't like your service. Maybe they can't get through to you. They don't, you don't have the right level of customer service, or, those are real problems or perceived problems. They can't, they're calling you at a time when you're not open, or they think that you should have 5-minute email turnaround when you have 24-hour. Or, you're going in one direction. We get this a lot in the agency space. And if you're a professional, you get this, you're the strategist. You're the reason that they went there. You're the professional, but they don't understand, coming back to that confusion. What is that perceived problem? And this is where marketing comes in, because you have to reassert your authority, explain to people why they hired you, why they bought your software, why they bought your service, why are they going with you as a personal injury attorney, why are they going with you for tax resolution. And this can happen, this can happen over the course of 12 months, 18 months, a year. But these are your opportunities too, because you can improve your business, you can improve your marketing. And For some of you, you're going to have an ongoing service, right? But you're going to have wins along the way. What are those conclusions? And are you reminding people of where they started? Are you reminding people of the journey that they've been on? Once they have the conclusion of their service, this is the customer journey, they move on. Now, either they're happy, they're living in land of mediocrity, or their unhappiness. What state are they in? If someone moves from happiness to evangelist, they're talking about you. That's where we get all our referrals from. They can move from happiness to indifference because, you've changed your life, but you're not reminding them why. Or they can, move to mediocrity and they just move straight to indifference. And like, that was all right, which is horrible because then you're invisible to them. They don't remember you. So you've spent all this time with them. You've worked so hard, and your best asset are your happy customers. And then if obviously they could be unhappy, and it might not be through any fault of your own. Maybe, we've had clients that, they've had great results, great results, but then they forget where they started. And they're getting marginally better results because there's only marginally more we can do for them, but that margin becomes expensive. This, people forget what's great and they just remember that bad thing. If you're in a software, they might be just noticing that one thing that's missing. I see this all the time because we're Infusionsoft certified partners. We're HubSpot certified partners. We're certified partners with a lot of these software companies because we want to deliver the video the best way possible. And I see it in the groups where people complain a lot about the piece of software. This is missing, because they forget all the awesome stuff that's out there. So you want to be reminding them of those awesome things too. Did you know you can do this? Because someone can move from unhappiness to a detractor. They can get out there, if you've done a really bad job, they can get out there and just torment you. Even if you've done nothing wrong, they can become a detractor. So, looking at this entire customer journey, this is a huge opportunity too that we're not spending a whole lot of time with. We're not marketing here to our current customers, but we should be. Each one of these is an opportunity for you to create a video. Over the next few videos, I'm going to talk about, and next few podcasts, and whatever way you're listening to this, I'm going to talk about, 8 types of videos to address the customer journey. And also, I'm going to talk about how video case stories can actually address every single point in this customer journey. Because while you should be inserted in there, getting video case story into here, getting your customers telling their story at each of these points can improve each of these points. But the simplest way for right now is to think about 3 things: wants, needs, and alibis. And you can Google that. But basically, what does a person want at each point in the journey? What do they need? And what are their excuses for moving forward? Why aren't they moving forward? Maybe if you start here, why don't know they have a problem? What do they want at that point in their life? Because you have to know who that customer is, right? What do they need? And then how do they move forward the journey? So if you move forward here and list out all the ways that you can help them. Now, I was telling you, we're talking about some of the biggest mistakes. The 2 biggest mistakes we talked about at the beginning, one of them was that you are not talking to the customer journey, you're talking to your process. And you're trying to conform the customer to your process instead of your process to their customer journey. The other mistake I see so much, and I mean, we have to battle this internally too, is people trying to sell at each point in this process. Listen, if you put a video of you or your customer telling their stories, and it's a video in front of there, you're going to get to spend time with a person. And, something I haven't talked about a long time, but Malcolm Gladwell in one of his books, talks about a study that insurance, who gets sued the most? Who gets sued the most for malpractice insurance? And it's not the doctor that's the worst doctor. In fact, some of the worst doctors get sued the least. Why? Because they spend more time with their customers. And video allows you to spend more time with the customer on the customer journey. So, if you get, instead of the opposite, getting sued, you can close more clients, get more of those happy, coming to the end of the journey, getting more of those evangelists here, Um, and all along the way, you can charge more. You can shorten this customer journey because if they know who you are, if you spent time with them on video up here in the front, and you spend time with them right here in the customer journey, man, this is going to happen a lot faster. They're going to compare and decide a solution. And in fact, if there's no other solution out there, but you've already moved them from don't know they have a problem all the way to looking for help, and they keep finding you, who are they going to hire? So like I said, over the next few videos, we're going to talk about ways that you can take and use 8 types of videos to insert yourself in here, and also the importance of video case stories along this customer journey. Because in fact, if you put video case stories, your customer stories, not testimonials, your customer stories, people are going to pay attention and remember you. And what they become is what I call virtual referrals. So please, please, please think through this. Download this and walk through your customer journey. It's going to give you a ton of potential content for you to think about. And you can just boom, 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 make that content. And if you get in front of your perfect customers and you've put content all along here, all along the customer journey, and you make sure it's in front of them through SEO, through email, through retargeting, through ads, bam, you are going to be the authority. And this is going to happen naturally. They're not even going to look for outside solutions. They're just going to be like, how much can I give you? And how fast can you get it done? So if you have any questions, please go to the Authentic Web Facebook page or Iron Garlic Facebook page. Go on one of those two, get on the video, and please put your questions in or put any comments in. I appreciate it. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure to go to authenticweb.media/journey, download it, and work through your customer journey. You can print this out and just think of all the ways that you can talk to the customer along that journey.